Well, the Washington Post, this is hysterical. There's the Washington Post ABC Quinnipiac poll that was just done where they were asking, who would you vote for, basically. And this is it tracks the net favorability of presidential candidates, okay? That's the favorable ratings minus the unfavorable ratings. So if 55% of people say, well, that person I like that person, and 45% of people say, I don't like that person, the spread between the two is 10% to the positive, right? In other words, 10% more people like them than dislike them, so they would have a score of plus 10% in the example that I just gave you, okay? Following me so far? So we're looking at net favorability. Are they more liked or more disliked? And here's how it breaks out. They actually, the Washington Post and Quinnipiac and ABC and Google Consumer Surveys included some fictitious characters in this thing. Most liked, with a 20% lead, is the Terminator. The Arnold Schwarzenegger character, the Terminator. Second most liked, with a 10% lead, is Darth Vader. Third most liked, with a 7% lead, is the shark from Jaws. I think these are just, people voting, saying, yeah, of course, who doesn't like the shark from Jaws, right? Or Darth Vader. The next, in terms of being liked, the only character who is actually the only actual politician, and we'll get to Voldemort in just a moment, but the only actual politician who has a net favorable that is above 0, is more liked than disliked, is Bernie Sanders. Marco Rubio is flat 0. He's equally liked and disliked. Barack Obama is minus 4%, along with Hillary Clinton. Martin O'Malley's around minus 5%. Rand Paul is around minus 8%. Scott Walker is minus 10%. And here's where it gets interesting. Voldemort, right, the bad guy from the Harry Potter series, he's disliked by about 12%. He's got about a 12% unfavorable rating. These are all the unfavorables. And he beats out Mike Huckabee, Ted Cruz, Jeb Bush, Rick Santorum, Chris Christie, and Donald Trump. In other words, all of them have worse unfavorable ratings than Voldemort. So Mike Huckabee is like at 13%, Ted Cruz around the same, Jeb Bush about 18% negative, unfavorable, Rick Santorum around the same, Chris Christie is about 25% unfavorable. Voldemort is only 11 or 12% unfavorable, and Donald Trump is 55% unfavorable. So here's the headline from the Washington Post. Voldemort is polling better than many Republican presidential candidates. I would have said than most Republican presidential candidates. In fact, with the exceptions of Rand Paul and Scott Walker, and Marco Rubio, all of the Republican candidates. That's amazing. But the thing that really astonished me was that the only politician on the entire list who had a net positive favorable rating, you can read this in today's Washington Post, the only one was Bernie Sanders. But don't expect to see it on the news because, the news just doesn't cover Bernie Sanders. It's just not something that they do.